A bandh called by pro-Telangana groups in Hyderabad had virtually no response today, with the city pretty much doing business as usual. Nevertheless, the issue of Telangana is politically explosive and back on centre stage, but the union government has been indecisive and vague about what it's going to do. Uma Sudhir has more on why Telangana matters.
Thousands gathered on Hyderabad's Necklace Road on Sunday as a show of strength to demand a separate Telangana state. The march ended with an ultimatum, not to the union or state government, but to Congress ministers from the region. Get Telangana or quit your post.
So long as there is political stability, they will not think of a Telangana state. Only a political crisis compels them to take a decision, and that crisis can be created only by the Telangana ministers. And therefore, they must use their position. It is possible. The only thing is it is possible and they are not using it. That's our feeling.
September end was the deadline set by pro-Telangana votaries for an announcement by the centre on Telangana. Congress leaders from Telangana argue that joining hands with the TRS and taking credit for a separate state can win the party a sizable number of the 17 Lok Sabha seats, at least in the Telangana region. They say a backlash from the non-Telangana leaders may not be politically significant, since the party is anyways on the back foot in Andhra Pradesh, given the Jagan factor as reflected in recent by-elections.
These are contentious issues. There are no easy solutions. People on all sides must be extremely patient. They must continue to remain engaged, and they must continue to remain peaceful.
The centre sees no urgency at this time to open a new front when it is already fighting other battles. That is why Telangana activists now want to mount pressure from the ground through the Congress leaders. Hyderabad has always been the bone of contention between those arguing for a separate Telangana and those against. Even though the scale of violence during the Telangana march was not as much as was feared, the targeting of a recreation park and also restaurants is likely to impact the brand image of Hyderabad. Chief Minister Kiran Kumar Reddy, also facing challenges to his leadership from within his party, needs to show all is well and ensure the trouble brewing over Telangana does not cast its shadow on the prestigious global biodiversity meet in the city. That can embarrass both the state and central government. In Hyderabad, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
And so with Telangana on the boil again, can the Congress afford to remain indecisive? That's the question we're asking. Do tell us what you think. Joining us here in the studio tonight is Mr. K.T. Ramarao, the General Secretary of the Telangana Rashtra Samiti, which has for years been at the forefront demanding a separate state of Telangana. Mr. T.S.R. Subramaniam, India's former Cabinet Secretary, is with us. We have senior journalist Nijar Chaudhary with us in the studio. Also joining us tonight from Hyderabad, from the Congress Party, senior leader Mr. Keshav Rao, who has been passionately campaigning for a separate state as well. Mr. Rajagopal Lagdapati, Lok Sabha MP from Vijayawada, who has his reservations on a separate state and is batting for a united Andhra. We'll also be joined shortly by Manish Tiwari, the spokesperson of the Congress Party. Also with us tonight is Professor Nageshwar, a senior political analyst who joins us from Hyderabad. Let me first ask Mr. K.T. Ramarao, you and your father, I know, have been here in Delhi for some time, and there has been speculation that you've been in intense negotiations with the Central Congress leadership here to try and get some kind of an announcement on Telangana. Can you tell us something about these talks? What's the sense you're getting from the Congress?
Well, one thing is for sure, while the agitations continue on the street, ultimately Telangana state formation is a political decision that has to be delivered by the central government, by the union government, and therefore as a responsible political organization, when we've been requested for a dialogue consultations, we've come to Delhi. We've been in consultations with some important people in the government and the party, the Congress party here, and the discussions have certainly showed that there is significant amount of progress. I can tell you that much. But until a decision is made, until an announcement is made, I don't think the restive population of Telangana would relent.
What's the biggest dilemma you see within the Congress on this right now? Because we've come a long way since December 2009, when they first actually made an announcement saying, yes, we agree to a separate state, and then kind of retracted on that and have remained indecisive since then. So what do you think is the biggest conflict right now?
The conflict is really political. It's some members of parliament belonging to the other region, the coastal Andhra. I would say only a few of them really at this point. It was much more in 2009 December when the announcement was originally made. But now I think it has come down only to two or three vocal proponents of united Andhra, when there is no such demand in Telangana region, which actually makes no sense then, have been championing this whole, chanting this slogan of united Andhra, and have been actually threatening to go to the extent of tendering their resignations. So that's probably what has been holding the union government. But I think now we have passed that stage. Now the Congress party also, I think, we think.
So you see progress. You see progress.
We see definite progress, but ultimately this issue has to be resolved, and an announcement has to be made with Hyderabad as the capital city of Telangana. Only then the people of Telangana will relent.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.